Hi, I'm Varian Brandon, and this is, I think, going to be one of the chat sessions because, and if you don't know, one of the chat sessions means that I talk about what's on my needles, what I've been working on, what's going on, that kind of thing. I also have a group that I talk specifically about design, and another one where I talk about stranded color work in general. Another one, I don't know, something else I have, I don't remember now. But anyway, but this is just when I talk and tell you what's on my needles and what, in this case, some cases, what's off my needles and kind of what I've been up to. So it has been, what are we, November now? It's been a crazy busy year. Just nutty kind of stuff, but fun stuff, lots of knitting stuff. I started out in January with my Kanuga retreat, which, in case you haven't heard about it, Martin Luther King weekend, we all go up to Episcopal Conference grounds, which is that way. And this is reversed, so you're not going to know which way it is. But anyway, it is, we do knitting and quilting. It is at an Episcopal Conference grounds. We don't, I kid and tell people and say we don't hog-tie people and turn them into Episcopalians. You know, we're coming to knit and to quilt, so it's fun. We have a great time. We've been doing it. We're coming on 18 years now, so it's a lot of fun. So if you're interested at all, that's at kanuga.org backslash adult conferences, I think is what it, I mean, you have to, I'll put a link somewhere around. But that's fun. That we started out the year doing that. Then in March, taught at the Carolina Fiber Festival in Raleigh, which was a lot of classes. That's my own deal. I put in for a lot of classes, and everyone had somebody in them, so that was nice. The Carolina Fiber Festival in Raleigh, that particular weekend in March, is right next door to a big dog show, and so much fun. I mean, you have parking lot, Fiber Festival, dog show. And in order for the dogs to get to the dog show, they have to park in the parking lot and go right past the Fiber Festival and to get to where the dog show is. So you're standing out front of the Fiber Festival and, I mean, outside of the building, and there are all these dogs going by. I mean, there's like, Irish Wolfhounds, there's Bichons, there's, English sheepdogs, Shelties. It's like, I love dogs so much. So it's so much fun to watch them go by. People walking by with, two dogs on a leash like this, like looking very regal. It's really a lot of fun to watch. And it's a great festival. So if you haven't been there, that's a fabulous festival. That's sometime in March in Raleigh. I forget, maybe it's third weekend, something like that. Don't count on that. I'll put a date up here somewhere. That's in March. May, my husband and I were in France. We both speak a little bit, un peu de français. So we did speak a little bit of that. We spent 4 days in Paris. Stayed in this wonderful small hotel that was right on the edge of a neighborhood that you could walk into the neighborhood, and there was like a plaza, and people were, in restaurants kind of all around that you could sit outside, and a fountain in the middle, and people all over the place. And I mean, it was really, really cool. And then we got the speed train from Paris to Strasbourg, and I think that train was going so fast that the scenery looking out the window was blurring. It was really speedy going across France to Strasbourg. Was in Strasbourg for, I think, 2 days, and then got on a barge to go down the French canals, which was really, really neat. There was a Michelin chef on the barge. It was really, I ate more than I've eaten in a long time, and unbelievably fabulous food. But we could get out and walk. We could walk faster than the barge could go. So we had a great time doing that, learning a lot about barge travel and canal travel and barge travel, which was pretty neat. Then in June, taught at the Blue Ridge Fiber Festival in Sparta, North Carolina, which is a small little festival. Small-ish. It's not tiny or anything. It's small-ish, but a fabulous vendor gathering of vendors. I don't know what you call that. It's not a vendor floor. It's a vendor building and tent. I mean, building and barn. I don't know, but fabulous, wonderful vendors, and I had a great bunch of students. I taught, I think, 4 classes. A friend of mine who also teaches, she and I shared an Airbnb, but you didn't hear that because we want to have it for next year. So I'm not going to tell you. You didn't hear that. Sorry. It's too much fun. Did that in Sparta, North Carolina. That was June. July, we'll talk about in just a minute. August, I taught with some friends up in Pittsburgh at the Pittsburgh Creative Arts Festival, which was fabulous and fun and different for me. So it was just great, and a wonderful hotel that seems to have just added on where it could. And so it kind of wanders around, and there's like a couple of towers and a couple of elevators that only go to this tower and that. It's pretty confusing, but it was a lot of fun. Great students, lots of fun. We laughed and had a great time. So that was a lot of fun. And what is it? It's a true and ancient saying. It's a true and something saying, but it's something in thought that when you become a teacher by your students, you'll be taught. That's kind of what happened. I learned a lot, and we talked a lot about stranded colorwork. So that was fun. That was from The King and I, the beginning of Getting to Know You. Incidentally, I'll have to look that up now. Anyway, that was in August. In September, flew out to the West Coast to Port Townsend, Washington, to the Shetland Wool Weekend, which is the Elemental Effects yarn, which I use a lot of, as you know. It is North American Shetland. And so they decided to have a wool weekend, long weekend. Judith McKenzie was there doing spinning. There was classes in Shetland lace. I taught 2 classes in stranded colorwork to a wonderful bunch of ladies, group of ladies. Bunch doesn't sound good. Group of ladies. And we laughed and had a great time. And they seemed to pick up with it, and it's fun. Very experienced knitters, which was a lot of fun for me. There was yarn everywhere. Beautiful yarn shop called Bazaar Girls in Port Townsend. If you haven't been there, you should. It's a gorgeous old buildings, an old schoolhouse. The upstairs where they hold the classes is got almost floor to ceiling, high ceilings, almost floor to ceiling windows on both sides. And the ceiling looks like the inside of a wooden ship. And it's like probably 16, 20 feet up above you. Wooden floors, old wooden tables and chairs, but sturdy, good stuff. Great acoustics. The ladies who run it are just incredible. It was, in order to get there, you've got to go into Seattle, get on the ferry, take the ferry across the Sound to Bainbridge Island, get from Bainbridge, and one of the ladies from the shop came and picked me up, hi Dana, and took me to where I was staying, which was a catty corner across the street from the yarn shop, which was pretty darn convenient, at a hotel called The Bishop, which was pretty neat, but it was like midnight by the time I got there. And we got there, had to figure out how to. There's nobody on. It's a small hotel, so there was nobody on a front desk. There was no night clerk or anything like that. And we were trying to get in. We had to do a passcode to get in, and then get the key and try to get the key to work. And we finally got the key to blah blah blah. And then inside, I was looking. It was the front door was glass like this, and it had the Bishop Hotel it's etched into the glass, but behind the glass there was nothing but stairs going straight up, and I was like going, oh great. So lugged the suitcase up the stairs. Then my room was on the next floor up. They had put me into a suite. I think there was some confusion, and I wasn't in the room I was supposed to be in, but I was in a lovely little suite that had a room and a living area in the middle. I chose the room on the left, and at about 6:30 East Coast time, which was pretty early in the morning. Actually, it was like 5:30 West Coast time, so I was awake, and rolled over and looked at the wall. The wall to the hallway was here. The wall to the outside was here in the little living area in between the bedrooms. I could look out my bedroom door and kind of see this wall here. And on this wall there was like this flickering, like a yellow strobe light. And I'm like, what the heck? Did we trigger some alarm last night and it's going off? I couldn't hear there was no sound, but it was like this strobing yellow light out on that wall. And I'm thinking, I don't know what that is. And so I kind of tiptoed out of bed and kind of looked into the living area, and the gas logs had come on. There was a fire in the fireplace, And I was like, oh, what a wonderful, wonderful, little special thing they do to some people who stay in this suite. You get to have that the fire comes on in the morning and sort of warms up the room, and it was a little chilly, warms up the room. And I'm thinking, oh, how lovely is that? And I thought, well, this is great. And then probably went back to bed and finally got up, got a shower, did all things. And I was trying to figure out, when I could when I could go see the people in the yarn shop and kind of when to grab something at breakfast and that sort of thing. And there were some ladies who were doing the cleaning, straightening up the rooms. And so I went to them and said, I just think it is so lovely that the gas logs come on in the morning. I think it's so nice. They looked at me and went, what are you talking about? And I was like, the gas logs come on in the room. I thought it was nice. I'm assuming they were on a timer or something. No, they're not. And I went, hotel haunted, maybe? I don't know. Because it was beautiful. Port Townsend's a beautiful sort of turn of the century town. It was really, really gorgeous. I mean, the buildings downtown are absolutely incredible. Well, I did talk to the owners later on. It turns out that that's the way they heat the rooms. It depends on where the thermostat is set. And apparently the thermostat was set so that when the room got cold enough, those came on. But for a while there, it was kind of cool. I was in a haunted room in an old hotel out on the West Coast. It was pretty neat. But anyway, I came in Thursday, left Sunday night, had a wonderful time with the ladies out there. Came back to the East Coast, and that was late September. Early in October, taught at the Greenville Knitting Guild to a small group of ladies. We did steeking and ribbings and edgings, which was a lot of fun. We did a Latvian braid and that sort of thing. And then when I finished that, a couple of weeks later in late September, late September. Anyway, taught at the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival, taught 8 classes in 4 days. Again, I put in these classes and they take them and they fill, which was okay, which was a lot of fun. I taught a beginning class on, the name of that was Thursday. Did a beginning class Thursday morning. Friday morning, I have 3 levels of teaching stranded colorwork. There's a beginning and an intermediate and an advanced class. So I was teaching the advanced class in the morning on Friday morning, and one of my beginning students comes running into class. This is pipe and drape in a big open room, so it's not like it's a door they had to be open. Just curtains go, running into class. Says, I am so excited to tell you, overnight I practiced and I can now do stranded colorwork in 2 hands. I feel like such a grown-up. Thank you so much. Gave me a hug and ran out of the room. It's going, okay, you're welcome. It was that whole weekend was like that. It was fabulous. We laughed. We had a great time. My last class, and I was exhausted by that time. My last class was at 1:00 on Sunday, and at 1:02 or 3, there was nobody in the class. And I thought, I only had 2 students in that class. It was like the last class, and I thought, okay. I don't think I would be upset if nobody showed up for this one, but I was tired. So all of a sudden, the curtain flies open again, and in walks a young woman who had been one of my classes before, and another lady, and she walks in and she says, "Oh, we're the first ones here." And I said, "Yeah, I think you're the only ones here." She said, "Oh, well, then it's just me and my mom." And I went, "Oh, well, great, how wonderful." And turns out that the woman who has been my student before, the younger one, is Bulgarian, and her mother is Bulgarian and speaks no English. I'm teaching a stranded class. I'm teaching a steeks class. But we got along really great. Both mother and daughter were fabulous. She was translating. The mother was asking great questions. She was looking at all my pieces, which was really nice. And then finally, it all of a sudden dawned on me, I've got an Eastern European colorwork knitter right in front of me. And I was going, oh my gosh, I have heard, I have read, I have seen videos, but I've never had someone right in front of me so I can watch what they're doing. A different technique of stranded colorwork. And I thought, oh my. And so while they were doing part of the assignment for the class, I was casting on something for her to do some knitting for me. So I learned a lot in that class. It was really neat. So that was cool. And so now I'm kind of exhausted and getting ready for, that was not late September, excuse me. It's October that was set. SAP is in October. I'm so sorry. And so now I'm, chilling down again until we get back to the Canuga Knitting and Quilting Retreat, which is in January. I'm teaching again at Carolina Fiber Festival. I'm teaching online for TKGA, virtual. So that you'll see some more of these. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see those indications come up. I'm going to Yorkshire in May to learn about knitting Yorkshire gloves, which I'm really excited about. And then, then the rest of the year kind of falls itself out. But anyway, long drawn thing to say, it's been a wild year. It's been fun and crazy. In the meantime, my husband is still struggling a little bit. I mean, we're still on the mend from his issues. And so that brings me around to what I did in July. In July, I actually got my book of hats finished. And you've seen these before. I'm going to show them to you one more time. This one is called Elisa. That's the top of that one. This one, they have tags on them because when I had them on the West Coast, people were picking them up, wanting to know what's what, and I couldn't tell everybody. So I just had a tag on them so they could see. This one is called Matin or Matine or whatever you want to call it, but there is that one. That's a tam. These are all their 3 styles. So there are four tams. This one is called, what is this one? Is this Manning? Yeah, this is Manning. This is Manning. So this is a tam as well. And this one is Mabu, something of that sort. That's this one. This is my favorite, I think. And that's the 4th tam. There are 3 sort of bucket hats. This one is Holcomb. And it's the only one that really has the OXO patterning of Fair Isle. It has a hat like this. It goes on, it's more a bucket or a slouch hat. It has a slouch hat to it. I'll spare you the humor of me putting them all on. This one is called Mason. And this one is called Nielsen. So there's that one with all of the curly cues in that. And then there are 3 Kemp sort of hats, which start here, and you work up and then turn the hat inside out, so that's now on the back side of that, and then you work all the way up, finish the hat. This is where the ribbing is here, and when you finish the hat, you fold up that brim so that it's now double thickness over your ears. This one is called McCloskey. This one is called Jarrett. This is one of my favorites too. I like the colors in this one. This one's called Jarrett. This one's kind of interesting because the sort of the difficult color work, more challenging color work, is on the turned up brim, and the rest of it's pretty, kind of easy stuff. And this one is called Anderson. So that's the last one of those. So all of those got done, and got into a book, which actually finally got printed, but we had to shoot the pictures for the book. So my niece came up. My niece is 13, 14. Sorry, Josephine. Anyway, she came up. I figured there are 10 hats. So having 10 pictures of me in a hat is a little too much for anybody. Just saying. So she and I kind of split the duties. We are in 80-something degree weather, July, first or second week in July, standing around in these wool jackets, leather jackets, and wool hats. So, and to shoot the pictures for this. So here is the book there, finally done. Here, there's a picture there. But we tried to make it look like, there's some pictures of my niece and me there. Tried to make it look like, you can see here, this is kind of bad. You see here, there's a sheen on my face because I'm about to burn up. And there was one where my face is like really red. You can tell a little bit. This is my niece. You can tell a little bit. She's got little pink cheeks because it's a little warm. So we got that done, and it is called Waiting. There are 10 stranded colorwork hats like this. Here's the top. Here's the back of it. It's called Waiting because working on these hats, and you can work on them. I worked on them worrying about my husband with all he was going through, and as I said, he's doing fine. We're in the doctor's offices and on the planes and in the waiting rooms and the surgery waiting rooms and that sort of thing. And so this thing starts out by saying, I don't have the patience to knit, in quotes. And it says, the reality is it is not patience that fuels the knitter. Sometimes it is the inability to sit still on long car rides or quietly wait in doctor's offices, leafing through old magazines. Sometimes it is the project in your hands that calms the nerves and stills the mind. And so, and this is like working on these hats brought calm and comfort when waiting was not negotiable. So that's what these are all about. They are named after each one of those names you heard were either place names where hospitals were located, or nurses or nurse navigators or doctors, or places where we stayed in the various, because we went around to several different cities just trying to make sure that everything was going to be okay with my sweetie. So that's what's going on. It's better. Oh, and if you want a copy, I said it's called Waiting. I'll put a link in my in the notes downstairs. The notes downstairs. Yeah, right. I'll put a link in there too, because you can get a hard copy, in which you're going to have to pay shipping and handling. I don't know what the handling is, except me getting an envelope to put it in and packaging it up and getting it down to the grocery store. Hello, getting it down to the post office, and then that's a hard copy, or there's a digital copy, and the digital copy is in the form of a PDF that has you get a download thing that you hit. You know what I mean? But you get a download. So either one is fine, and the downloaded version, there are links, and there's written in there, but in the downloaded version, it's a little easier because there's some links to some videos on how to do the hat, how to, things like, let me get down here and find it. Things like finishing up this hat, the sort of the top of the hat, kind of that sort of thing. There's a technique for doing that. So there's that. As I said, it's written in the book. You get it in the hard copy, but if you get the digital copy, it doesn't matter what you get. But get the digital copy, you can actually just click on them and you go to the video. In addition to that, you've seen me, at some point I talked about having sweaters, because I was having to finish up that while I was knitting. That's what I was knitting on, in addition to teaching all these classes. Then I was working on, you saw me do, I don't know how much, you should just see part of how this was done. This was this sweater that goes on like this and has the color work at the top of it, like that. This one's called Long Ridge. And if you'll notice, the color work is pretty simple color work. Just little Peary's related that way. This is Mountain Meadow Cody Sport yarn, which is really nice and soft. It's not the rustic yarn that Elemental Effects, and I love that too. So I love both of them. And also, my husband's nephew's wife. How about that? My husband's niece. Anyway, related. There's a family. There's somebody in my husband's nephew. Here we go. My husband's new wife, has had a baby. And so, of course, I had to do a baby blanket. So I did. This is not one of my patterns. This is one of Pearl Soho's patterns. But this had to be done too. There's another nephew whose wife is also having a child. So I've got to figure that out. I started that one. I didn't like the way that looks, so I may have to pull that one out and do that. And then the only other thing I'm working on right now, because I know that's why you tuned in to see what I'm working on. I'm kidding. The only other thing I'm working on right now is an interesting experiment. And if you watched any of Elizabeth Zimmerman's video, she says this little bit of knitting here. This is kind of an experiment. This is a crescent shawl. This is some Fiber Seeds yarn. This is a crescent shawl, and it may not look like a crescent shawl to you, but it's a color work crescent shawl that has a steek that runs across the top, right? And so when that gets cut open, then this gets pulled out to double the size, like that. And then I'm going to pick up along the cut edge and do something to cover the steek flap, if you will. So that's the plan. There's some days I go, oh, this is going to be great, and there are other days I kind of go, I don't know. And this is fiber seed sock sprout, maybe, I think something like that. And it's beautiful, soft. I like the colors. I like the way it takes the dye. So that's kind of where we are with that one. So that's what I'm kind of sitting here, because that's an experiment and kind of fun to do. So we'll see. I'm thinking I might put some shawls together for another book, maybe next year. Who knows? I'm going to try. Big plans going on here. Anyway, all right, guys, that's about all from me. You've heard enough of me talking. If you got any questions about anything, let me know. I will try to put all the links in the bottom of everything. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. As I said, if you got any questions, please get in touch from all the usual places. Hopefully I can get my life under control and not be running around quite so much. And I like running around, but you know what I mean. I love teaching. I didn't realize how much I love teaching. And even if this is a typical video for me. I start to end and then I go off on a tangent and come back in again. But if I am like dreading pulling all my stuff together and getting in the car early in the morning to get over to the Ag Center here, to get on the plane, to go someplace. And I'm just kind of like, oh. But when I get there and get in class and start talking about this work and people asking questions, and that when people kind of go, oh, I get it now. That is the real cool thing. And I think anybody who teaches anything will tell you the same thing. So thanks, all of you. If you're watching this and you've been one of my students before, thank you. It's just been a delight, and will continue to be a delight for a while. So we'll see. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And if you got any questions, let me know. Bye-bye.